Hello, everyone. I decided to switch things up this week, and rather than release one of my pre recorded and edited and polished videos, I really just wanted to come to you and have a conversation. And I decided that this made a lot more sense rather than trying to pre produce and really polish a video, because what I want to talk to you about today is willingness to be vulnerable. And it just didn't seem right to come to you and talk about being vulnerable and being willing to be vulnerable, but then have all of these graphics and all these things and have everything be super polished. That just didn't seem right. So I decided to skip all of that this week and just come to you as I am and have this conversation. You might also notice that I am not very polished and put together and edited today, and that is for a couple reasons. One, I am getting ready to take the rest of the day off today and go hiking with my eldest child, and so I was not going to spend the time getting all dialed up and polished for Facebook and YouTube and social media, just to go ahead and go out and go hiking and get all sweaty. So partially it's convenience. But I also, again, wanted to be authentic and real. And if I'm talking about being vulnerable and I'm going and getting all polished and edited myself, that doesn't really give you an authentic message. So I'm also coming to you just as I am on a typical Friday because it's just part of being real. And in thinking about this idea of wanting to encourage you to be vulnerable, what I really want to talk about are some words, and specifically three words that I think are three of the most powerful words when it comes to effective communication and to leadership. And if I say to you, what are three of the most powerful words that you can say in communicating with someone, what you might think is the phrase, I love you. And while that phrase carries a ton of weight and, of course, is very powerful, and certainly can be very vulnerable if it's the first time you're telling someone, I love you, that's definitely vulnerable. But I'm not talking about the phrase I love you or the words I love you. What I'm talking about today, the words and the phrase, I don't know. I don't know. Those three words, when it comes to really communicating with someone, and especially to leadership, can be so powerful. I think often for leaders, we have this tendency to think that we need to have all the answers all the time. Leaders think, if I don't know something, if I don't have the answer right away, I'm going to look incompetent. I'm going to look like I'm dumb, like I don't have I should have the answers. I should have them all the time. All the answers, all the things, all the time. I'm here to tell you that not only is that not realistic or possible, even if you are the smartest person in the world, you're not going to have all the answers all the time. It's just not possible. You can't know everything. And even if you are the foremost expert in your field, in the entire world, you still can't know everything all the time. And certainly your team, they're going to come to you with things and questions, and there's going to be a time where you don't know. And rather than fumbling and trying to make something up to make it seem like you know, just admit you don't know. So I'm here to not only tell you it's not realistic to have all the answers all the time, I'm also here to release you from that burden, that unrealistic expectation and burden on yourself that you have to know everything all the time. So consider that released. You don't need to have that. And I'm here to empower you to be vulnerable and to admit you don't know. And so those are three of the most powerful words. I don't know. Now I'm going to give you a follow-up phrase that can be just as powerful. And when these two are combined, magic can happen. So the first phrase is, I don't know. And the second is, help me understand. I don't know. Help me understand. you can use these when communicating with really anyone in your life, whether it is somebody that reports to you on your team, your boss, a colleague, a significant other, a child. Saying, I don't know, help me understand, is huge and can be just so powerful. And I encourage leaders to be willing to say these things in everyday conversation and everyday leadership. But part of why I really wanted to have this conversation today, there's a lot of dialogue happening, which is fantastic and amazing. And I'm so glad that this dialogue is happening around race and privilege and justice and social justice and all of these conversations that need to be happening. And I hope you are having these conversations. I hope that you are brave enough and courageous enough to step into the discomfort and have these conversations because they need to happen. And as you seek to have these conversations, this is where saying, I don't know, help me understand, will be your key to having amazing conversations. Because trust me, you don't know. There's going to be something within this context and this conversation that you don't know. And you need to seek to understand. Even if you are the most woke person you know, the most woke white person, and even if you are the biggest and sincerest ally, and kudos to you. But even then, you still need to admit you don't know, and there's still so much more to understand. And be willing to humble yourself and be willing to say that and admit that and say, I don't know, help me understand. If you are willing to say that and admit that and be that vulnerable, that will actually make you seem so wise and so strong and so smart, and people will respect you so much more. Humility and vulnerability are not weakness. That's actually where the strength is. And being willing to step into the discomfort, that's where the courage is. So that's my message for you today. My unfiltered, unscripted, just true, honest, and raw message. As you seek to have better conversations, better communication, to be a better leader and to be a better human, please be willing to say, I don't know, help me understand. Thank you. Be well and be courageous.